I was working on a small fun project just for myself, and then I needed to change the weather. But then I realized I probably should do a video to help people see how they can do that in Flight Simulator. Now, once you've selected your aircraft and your location and you've launched the simulator, you're going to immediately press your Y key to go into slew mode, which freezes your aircraft where it is. This will allow you to move your aircraft around in a virtual world so you can examine the changes that you're making in the weather control panel. So to invoke the control panel, you hover near the top of the screen and you'll see the little drop down appear that lets you select different kind of controls. And this one is going to be the weather control. Now the first thing to pay attention to is this drop down where you can select pre-configured settings for different types of weather, and you just select those. And they'll appear down here in this chart that has those sections defined for different altitudes, depending upon your selection. It also has date, which isn't working I think right now, but you have all sorts of different technical things you can adjust here. I'm not going to cover these, I'm going to shy away from those. We're just going to concentrate on the basic settings here. So if we select a few clouds, you'll see that you can barely see them off in the distance here. There's nothing up close, nothing going on. And as we change for different ones, you'll see different things show up. See scattered clouds here. We go down to the next one and we see broken clouds, a little bit less cloud density. And you just continue selecting each one until you find the one that you really want. There's high level clouds you can't really see unless I maybe adjust the view a little bit. You go up here, you'll see some high clouds, very little. So continuing down the list after a high level, let's go to overcast, and you'll see this is what it said. It's a very overcast setting. And as we look around again, we'll see those clouds there. Go down one more, and we go to rain. Can't really see rain in this particular view. You can change the different settings for that as well, how much precipitation you have, and all that. And then we go to the next drop down, which from rain we go to snow. And sure enough, then we see snow-covered ground effects. But lastly, my favorite is the next one down, which is the most dramatic and one I was going to use for my project, and that's storm. If you click here, we see storm. Of course, we don't see very much because now we're going to have to play with some details of the storm. So you can do this for any type of configuration, but when we're in storm here, we're going to try to adjust this, these different altitudes, and you'll see that they have a ground level down here and all different levels. So you can adjust the coverage. For example, if we go here and we can say the top and bottom altitudes of this particular one occurs at this particular altitude. Now, of course, your aircraft is at some altitude, and so you have to be cognizant of that. And that's because you may not see the adjustments at the altitude that you're at. They may not be visible to you as you slide these things around. But you can see you can slide the entire section around, or when you select it, you can adjust them by using these sliders here. And you'll see that I'm starting to see something here. I bring the altitude down, and sure enough, I can now see through to the ground. I move around, and I can see my cloud structure. Going back, I can select a different range and then adjust the altitude for that particular level of clouds, and the other one won't be affected. So you can put in intermediate, more dense clouds at certain altitudes, different altitudes, and if they overlap, you have one overriding the other, but just play around with these until you get the cloud coverage you like and the effects you like. In this particular effect, in the video I'm creating, I want to have an effect where the Enterprise flies through a large number of clouds before it breaks through to see it below. Now, besides the level, you want to change the coverage, how dense they are here, and that's the coverage, how much percentage of that, plus how much they're scattered apart. So you can see how much they in relationship to each other. So that's the area coverage, and the other one is how densely they're together. So basically, you can rotate around in slew mode until you get what you think you want to have as far as the amount of coverage at that particular altitude. Again, sliding the sliders to wherever you want until you get the look and feel you like. You can go into the panel, and you can, besides doing your altitude and all that, you can add a wind layer down here. So if you add a wind layer here, you'll notice that you can select the speed of the wind. Okay, we'll do that, make it a very high speed wind here. Okay, and let's just play with it around there. Okay, the speed down here of the gusts. Okay, so both of them have specific speeds. You can even click and drag here and change the direction. For example, I want it to be at whatever degrees. I'm coming out of the west, and I want that as a speed of 48 miles an hour. Gusts, I want them to come out of, well, probably the same direction. And then you want the frequency of the gusts there, and the speed of the gusts down there. And once you made a change, just wait a little while and watch it unfold and see how fast the clouds are moving and see if it's exactly the kind of effect you want. I do want to revisit settings. So if you click up here, you go to the overall settings here. And you notice here I've turned up lightning like to crazy amounts because I want to have a very dramatic effect. And you can just change that to wherever you like to get the amount of lighting you want to have. You can't have that selected while you're in one of these different altitude modes, but only when you're at the master settings. So if I go back here and click again on the settings up top, not one of these down here, but if I go all the way to the top and click there, I can access these and set not only lightning, but precipitation and other different things. So you've set all these settings. You're going into here, maybe to each different layer. It says a certain altitude, checked on this layer here or that layer there. But you got it perfect. You want to save it. All you have to do is go up to the top box up here, like most interfaces, and you'll see a little set here, and there's a save icon. You click on that, and it says save as new preset. You give it a name, whatever you want, and then you save it. And of course, if you go back into the settings, you can edit it there and change the name to something else in case you have several of them. Again, you can delete it and do all that stuff. But don't remember, in case you go back in and change something, you need to go back up and change that preset, because if you close this box or quit, it won't ask you that. You need to actually go in there and do what you need to do as far as saving. Now, if you want to take a look at your full screen of what's going on and not that, you might want to click here. Now, it simply moved this from a built-in dialog box into the program onto my right-hand screen, where I can make all the adjustments I want there and watch the full screen here without the interface overlapping. So once you've done all the adjustments, all you have to do is go back into flight mode by pressing the Y key. Then you can fly around and see if it's exactly what you want. So here's a little demo I did for Reddit to show the interaction between the Enterprise and the Brazilian anomaly, where there's a altitude problem in an airport in Brazil. So I created this little video for the Enterprise to fly through the clouds and discover the anomaly. And the longer video shows it entering it as well. But here's how you adjust your weather to create whatever effects you want, so you can play around a little bit with Flight Simulator under the conditions that you want to fly in. Hey, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video. And if you want to get more, just subscribe to Old Guy Geek. You can also follow me at Facebook or Twitter. The links to those are in the description of this video.